Yo, what's up, everybody? If you haven't heard about Anchor, let me tell you, this is one of the easiest ways to make a podcast. First of all, it's free. Second of all, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit the podcast right from your phone or computer. Third, Anchor will also distribute for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Then you can also make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Later.
Welcome to The Lion's Den with Seth, a podcast where progressive men and women can learn and teach each other the ways of the land. The Lion's Den is where royalty comes to council. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Seth.
How have you guys been doing with this staying at home? Like, if y'all been dealing with cabin fever, what is it that y'all been doing to stay good to go?
Just wash your hands and sanitize in the house, man. Trying to limit our exposure as best as we can.
Yeah, so for me, man, I got two girls inside the house that don't stop talking. And I didn't realize that until, you know what I'm saying, I had them in the house and they ain't going to school and it's just me because I'm teleworking. So all they do is run their mouth a lot. So I took them for a walk. I took them for a nature walk. I like, let me take them for a nature walk because, you know, I get them out moving around and I get to see the animals. But the problem is they talk so damn much. Okay. Is that the animals ran away 15 minutes before I even get to their asses. You know what I'm saying? It's like my kids are scared away the animals. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. I'm just trying to keep them active and moving. They're not gonna stop talking regardless because they little girls. But hey, that's how I've been handling my corona time.
I mean, for me, basically, man, I just been taking it easy, staying at home. You know, finding myself. Having activities with my son, you know, playing on the patio, playing basketball, video games, movies, TV shows, things of that nature, just to keep him active and involved. And as far as myself, I mean, there's not much we can do at this point, but just, you know, wash your hands and take a shower and, you know, live life the best way you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's okay, hey, yeah. So I mean, so we talking about what we have to do for this corona epidemic, right? Because this is something that we've never really faced ever. I mean, not that I can remember.
No, not since the Great Depression.
Right. You know what I'm saying? In my time, you know, in my hometown, I know we had snowstorms and stuff like that, but this is something that is sweeping through the whole world, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's changing the dynamic. When have you ever remembered that you had to wait to see a Facebook post on when toilet paper was available?
That's crazy. I mean, when I sent that out, I wasn't even trying to be funny. I was just like looking out for my brothers and sisters like, hey, they got toilet paper at the commissary, man. Hey, go through, pick it up, you know, one per person, you know, just sharing that type of information. And that's the kind of stuff that you just got to bond together off of. It don't make sense to you, me saying this, but it's real.
Yeah. And you got to be careful on how you shop too, man. Just get what you need and not try to stockpile.
Well, let me ask you something. So you talking about not trying to stockpile. I agree with you. But the truth of the matter is, man, people are stockpiling.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not prepared, you're going to be without.
Yeah.
Right? Ain't that crazy?
Yeah. That's where your circle come into play, though. You know, I feel like, hey, whatever I don't got, I'm going to reach out and see if some of my folks can help me out because I'm trying to be considerate, so to speak.
Right.
Instead of out here hoarding and just shopping to buy it all up just to buy it all up. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you never would think they would come to this.
Yeah. I mean, I never seen like commissary is like the shopping market for people on base. You know what I'm saying? I never seen a time where you look at the meat section and all the meat is gone.
The whole section. I mean, even the meat that you like, I don't know about that.
them cats are putting out stuff that they know people ain't gonna buy, like them ribs in a box.
And they gone. That's where we at right now.
Yeah, like a whole rack of lamb just out of it, just gone.
You know,
bro. Stuff you don't even normally accustomed to eating. You know, ribs, chicken, you know, beef, you know, your pork, stuff like that, pork loins and all that. But when you start putting stuff you're not even familiar with and you snatching it up, then you know it's a real issue.
So let me ask y'all a question about the coronavirus. When we look at statistics and stuff like that, right? The coronavirus really has not. It doesn't equate enough deaths. A lot of people say to equal a pandemic, not like swine flu or even the regular flu in general. Why do you think that the coronavirus is the virus that is making people trip out a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Go out and buy all this toilet tissue and wipe out grocery stores and meat and stuff like that.
You know what, man? I think the reason why is because people fail to educate themselves. So if you have received your doctorates from Facebook, that's a problem. You get what I'm saying? Because what happens, so what happens is individuals will regurgitate what they read without doing the research themselves, and then you mess around and start sounding stupid. You get what I mean? Like I had a conversation the other day with my niece, and she was like, "Hey, can you let me know about the martial law? I heard it was about to start." Okay, so who told you that, first of all? Second of all, where is it coming from, but what facts do they have? And then so we all had the conversation about it, but the individual that's saying that a martial law is coming, do they even know what that means? Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? You have never seen that in your life, so you don't even know what to expect. Right. You get what I'm saying? You think, and not just that, you think it's gonna be on Facebook. Hey, by the way, it's about to be martial law tomorrow. Get out of here. You did
Wild Wild West type stuff.
Yeah, it's so out of line.
So I shared a post about that because there was some video going around about a railroad going with tanks on it.
Right.
And this is a normal movement for the Army. It's just moving tanks, you know, from one place to the other to get it to where it needs to be. But somebody videoed it and it went viral, and they was like, "Yep, there go the tanks. They're coming in."
And see, that's what I'm saying. Without content, So obviously they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, but look for the 1,000 facts behind it, right? So if you don't have the facts to support what you're talking about, why are you even, pushing it out there? Now, it's a lot of information out there, and I know that it's hard to decipher between the two, but do your own due diligence. You know what I mean?
Headline readers, man.
Headline readers.
A lot of people read headlines and act like they read the whole entire article. You know, I give a perfect example, man. Somebody posted something about Charles Barkley. I'm gonna switch gear just a little bit. Charles Barkley talking about who was it? He was talking about a basketball player.
Green.
No, it wasn't Green, man.
Kevin Garnett.
God dang it! I should have been more prepared for this part. But the example was, I'm gonna give an example. The article read, Charles Barkley said this about a player. But if you actually click the link, it wasn't that Charles Barkley said that about a player. The person said this. No, my bad. I'm gonna keep going with it. The person said this to Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley reported it. So Charles Barkley didn't really say that. He just reported it. But the headline said Charles Barkley said this negative thing about a player.
Gotcha.
And so people were saying, how could Charles Barkley say that when he had this, that, and the third? Right. He threw somebody through the glass. All this type stuff negative about Charles Barkley because they never clicked the link to see what was on the inside.
And you know what, man? And with that being said, to link that, put that into context of what today is about and what we're going through, fear and drama sells.
Right.
You get what I mean? It sells. So if you are telling me my life and everything that I know about my life is getting ready to change, and you're saying, hey, you need to prepare for it, that's why all the toilet paper. First of all, look, just chill on out. You get what I'm saying? Chill on out. But the thing is, that's being reported. What's not being reported is the 80,000 individuals that are recovering from the coronavirus.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So if even just looking at the numbers, look how many people are affected versus the individuals that have passed. Okay, there's still a huge number out there. So what's really, what's being talked about? Right. So yeah, it's crazy, man. But what I really want to make sure people do is do your research, right, before you tell your friend, hey, guess what? This is what I heard. Blah blah. Okay, well, how true? A, is it true? And B, is it something to uplift someone? Is it something to help someone? Or you just going off of some crazy facts? Because and then it all depends on what you're listening to. So if you're listening to let's say CNN versus Fox, you're going to get two different things. If you're listening to, no shade, but Dr. Umar, he gonna find a way to connect it to
get his money,
to get his money.
He gonna get a check.
No, he's trying to get his check. Why? Because he's still trying to get that school that ain't up.
Right.
And then
it's in Uganda, ain't it? Something like that.
No, it's in Washington or something. But the fact is, look at the motives.
Right.
Look at the motives and look at your means. But
when we're talking about the corona, man, because a lot of people hasn't the deaths doesn't match the pandemic, right? But I think what the problem with the corona is that we have not found a way to contain. Like, we have a flu shot for the flu. Flu kills a lot of people a year.
right.
But we have a flu shot. That's a safety net. We don't have anything for this strand of the flu, the coronavirus. We don't have anything for that. And it does affect people with respiratory issues and also older people.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like people like us right here, you know what I'm saying, that are healthy. I don't know about Foots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People
Foots look out a suspect.
people that are healthy, we can walk around with the coronavirus with no symptoms at all.
And there are people that are like that right now.
That's
And
right.
what if we run into somebody that is susceptible?
So what?
Susceptible.
It's susceptible. No, ain't no acronym for susceptible.
I can't. Well, how you say that?
It
Shit?
don't matter. What we gonna do is just cut his mic off. But look, transitioning though, seriously. And look, if you guys are just tuning in, we had some technical difficulties a little earlier, but those that are online, we appreciate it. Those that are watching live, we appreciate you guys. And Miss Monique Slater, right? Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Hey.
All right. You're about to get bit on the Lions Den. Welcome, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
We're doing good. So speaking about the coronavirus, what would you say is how would this affect the housing market? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in, she is going to help give the keys to your new home. Can you dig it? You see how I play with that, with the words. But so Ms. Monique, what would you say the change, if you will, what this coronavirus and this scare is doing to the housing market? What do you think?
So it's doing a lot of things across the board, but I want to say that here in San Antonio and probably all of Texas, we're pretty much doing virtual showings now. We're not taking you. Usually I'll take a client out and we'll look at, 10 to 12 houses. No. I'm going to go in the house by myself and then we'll connect on like a Facebook Live or Zoom or something. And I'll show you the house virtually. And then I'll take it down to the last two houses. So, I'll show you the last two houses, but I'm not going to show you 10 houses.
Okay. You know what? And based off of that, just me thinking as far as a lover of quality time, that actually makes your job more efficient, right? Because you're not driving around and trying to convince people, hey, look at this if they don't like it. No, if they're purchasing this house, they need to be confident in the type of house that they want, right? And so this kind of helps narrow down that, is what you're saying?
And a lot of things online is not the same as when you get in a house, but I have very high standards. So when I get in a house, I'm going to say, no, this is not the house for you, baby. Let's move on real quick because I just have those kind of standards. I won't really show a house that I wouldn't buy myself.
There you go.
Okay, good. Well, look, just tell us a little bit about you. How did you get started in the real estate, not just real estate investing, because you're a real estate agent? How did you get into that?
So I got into it on accident. I purchased my first house when I was 22. I was a young little airman just poor, broke, and just, first little house was $64,000. We were stationed at Barksdale. And the purchase was great, but what we did after the purchase, we found out later was a mistake. We sold the house. And from that point on, every time we PCS, we purchased the house. We've never rented. And when we got to Virginia, and we had sold a house, again, big mistake, but it was good, in the end. We sold a house when we were at the top of the market. And when they handed me that $96,000 check, it was like, here you go. I snatched it out of my husband's hand and was like, yes. And I just kind of got into it from there, like, yes. But when I went back to Virginia on my own, I did a tour without my family. And even though I knew I was going to be there just for a short period, I was only there for like 12 months. We still purchased a house.
Nice.
And we kept that house. And it's great rental property now. And I have great tenants. And I have multiple properties across the U.S. And I have fabulous tenants. You just really have to screen them. So I kind of got into it on accident when I was active duty using that free BAH that they give us. Yes. Free BAH, but being able to write it off, and it was just by accident. So when it was time to retire, I kind of already knew what I wanted to do, and I didn't necessarily want it to be an agent. I just wanted to buy a whole bunch of properties and invest, but I wanted to do it without an agent, so I got a license, and that's what I'm saying. It was on accident. Then I started showing other people houses, and it just fell into where I am now.
Nice.
Okay,
nice.
man. So just so you know, some of our audience are not military, so we got to watch our acronyms and make sure we're spelling out what we're saying, so they can relate to what we're talking about. Get into some of the nomenclatures or rumors where it comes to the VA loan for some of our active duty military and retirees, and what they should know about the VA loans. Okay,
so VA changed effective January the 1st, but it didn't change to what we thought it was going to change to. We all thought, and I was, head over heels jumping for joy, that we can go out and get as many VA loans that we can get 0% down and just be happy, and just because I had rental properties that was going to be lined up that I was going to buy. And it didn't quite change that way. The way it changed is you still can get a VA loan, 0% down, funding fee. Of course, everybody pays a funding fee, but most veterans just roll it into their loan, whatever. But there's a cap, and there's also what's called entitlement. So right now, I have 3 houses tied up on VA. So I couldn't get another VA loan and put no money down. And we thought we were going to be able to do that because, like I said, I had them lined up. I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. But it just didn't roll out that way. So you have to have full entitlements in order to use your VA with 0% down. And full entitlements mean if I right now only have one of my houses that's paid off. And it's so nice because the rent is $2,200. But anyways, that's a different story. For that entitlement, that one is under my husband. So for that entitlement, he has full entitlements because that house is paid off. So we can go and purchase $1 million home because there's no limit. You only have to qualify for it. But if I qualify for $1 million loan, then I could still put no money down under VA. But again, you have to qualify. Maybe I don't have the income. Maybe I only qualify for $800,000. Where before you could only get the 0% down up to the limit.
Okay,
that's right.
So what is your input when you say qualify? And we're talking to y'all young airmen, brand new to the Air Force. What do you say to those individuals that need, how important is the credit score and what's on your credit report that can help?
That's like the number one thing. And you know what? Credit costs. It costs to have bad credit.
And see, and you know what, man? And look, I'm glad that you're saying this because we had a discussion just with us brothers and trying to understand if there's a good thing to having great credit or no credit. You get what I mean?
I know what you mean. So I have a son in college, and he has no credit. So he can't buy anything. He doesn't have any history. Who trusts him to even buy a $40,000 car? You haven't showed us that you can make your payments. So he has no credit. And so, I did something for him to help him with his credit. But to have bad credit is worse than having no credit.
Got you.
People don't know that.
So I
Yeah,
got
and it costs you money when you have bad credit because being in the military, you have bad credit that can affect your security clearance.
Absolutely.
Yes. They will take it.
In some industries, it'll affect you from having management jobs out here in the civilian sector if you have bad credit. Bad credit is going to cost you maybe to have to get a hard money loan versus just going to a lender and So I buy investment properties like you guys know, and I'll buy a property and then do seller financing. That means I'm going to charge you 14% because you have bad credit.
So check this out. I have a question. Hey, this is Herman. How you doing? I just added you to Facebook. But check this. I got a question. I know we just talked about VA loans, and that only really applies to military or vets. What are the other loans that are out there that people probably need to know about, especially like first-term buyers or experienced buyers, and what are the benefits or the things that are against these loans?
So there's a lot of loan vehicles. Of course, VA is the best loan vehicle we have because it's 0%, but the next best is FHA. You have to qualify for that. That's based on income. There's an income cap. Everybody can't get FHA, but FHA, you only put 3.5% down. But if you make $200,000, you're not going to qualify for FHA. Now you have to do a conventional loan. Some areas here in Texas are in rural areas. You can get what's called a USDA loan also. There's a lot of different vehicles, but most civilians, they use the conventional loans. It's best. One of my houses is under a conventional loan. So for a conventional loan, you could put 5% down, but then you're going to be paying principal and interest insurance. So it's best to put 20% down. And that's a lot of money if you're talking about a $300,000 house. So there's a lot of different vehicles as far as the type of loans and you know what? If you have a great agent, then your agent most likely is hooked up with some great lenders. Like I have 2 fabulous lenders that I use. But of course, I don't always push them off on my clients because they may come in and say, I'm using USAA. And I'll be like, okay, that's cool. You can pay those extra fees. That's okay. I'm good with that. But if you have an agent, they are most likely connected with a couple lenders that can help you and determine which vehicle to use as far as your loan.
Okay. And that was going to be my next question is one of the questions we proposed to you was how important it is to have an agent. What's the pros and cons of having an agent when you're purchasing a home?
So the pros and cons is, how I'm going to put this. So most of the time I'm a buyer's agent. So you have seller's agent, which lists property, which I do, and I love to do it. Then you have a buyer's agent that take care of the buyers. People move in, they need somebody to help them show them the area, help them get their loan started, find a house, blah, blah, blah. Buyer's agents are free. So if you come in, you transition. I have a guy coming in for AT&T. He's coming to some headquarters job here. He knew that it was free for him to contact me, and I'm showing him homes over the internet and virtually or whatever, because most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, buyer's agents will get paid from the seller. Now, for a seller's agent, those are the people that list your property. Like I have a few listings that are listed. They put the sign in the yard or whatever. You need a seller's agent because you can't advertise your home the way we can. I hit thousands of people in the MLS when I put your home in there. You can't do that doing a for sale by owner. And I see the signs and I don't even stop. I should. Most agents do stop and try to convince them. I just wait. And then I'll contact them later and say, hey, your house has been on market for 30 days. Do you need some help?
Oh, that's a good point.
So that's the difference between the 2 agents. Some people just don't really like to use agents. Even with my new construction leads. So I have a new construction sales consultant for every builder here in San Antonio that I network with. But if you're coming in from overseas, I have 2 clients that already purchased a house. They're coming in from overseas. They go to the new construction office without me. Most of the time, the new construction agent is going to try to get you to put down like one instant. One of my new construction sales consultants that I don't work for anymore because he did this to my client, try to get him to put down $6,000. And then they called me and I was like, wait a minute, you went in there without me, but that's okay. I got you. Let me clean that up.
Right.
No, most of the time the earnest money, it varies between $500 to $2,000 on new construction, and they have them put down $6,000. It's because they didn't know. If you're not an agent, there's some things that you just are not familiar with, or you don't have the knowledge of knowing, and some of the laws you don't know and the regulations. That's why you really need an agent.
Okay. And I can vouch for that because I bought 2 homes when I was stationed in Florida, and both of them were brand new homes. So, I only put $500 down for the what did you call it, the earnesting fee or whatever it was. But
the earnest money.
The earnest money, yeah. So I put, $500 down on both homes, and I just ran into the luck of having really good realtors that knew the market and knew VA loans versus the other loans because obviously I'm military, so I used the VA loan, but a lot of people don't know that, and for me,
right.
when I tell people to buy, I always encourage new homes over, homes that are already established, but that's just me. But what do you say to folks like me that say that to other folks? Like, is there a pros, cons to that, or? Well,
there is pros and cons to it, and I understand where you're coming from. So we moved into this home that we're living in now. It's my forever home. In 2018, right when I retired, we bought this one. But the home prior to was new construction. I was overwhelmed with new construction because I'm not the type that I want to pick out the cabinets, the flooring, the countertops. I don't want to do that. I want to go in where it's already done.
Gotcha.
It was too many colors. I don't grout. I don't know what color grout's supposed to be. I don't. It was just too much, and it was overwhelming. And then I also had an issue with later having, things that needed to be repaired or whatever, trying to get a hold of the builder, because once you're done selling the home, some of the builders, not my favorites don't do this, but some of the builders, they're kind of done with you after you close on your home.
Yeah, that's true.
So this home.
That's real true. Yeah.
Yeah. They like, you try to call them, they ain't answering. And then, my clients have to call me. Then I have to go stand on desk and be a chief again. And I'm like, I don't want to be like this again. I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
So, but this home, it's like buying a used car versus a new car. So we're a Lexus family, right? Mm-hmm. One time I bought a Lexus 460, brand new. Never again in my life.
Baller. It sounds like
never again.
Is that what you're doing? Hey, look, everybody ain't got that money like that. All right.
I'm going to tell you, I'm trying to teach y'all. Never again in my life will I spend that much money on the car. When I can get one that came in off a lease program for half the price 3 years later.
Absolutely. Very smart. Very smart.
That's how it is with homes. So when we bought this home, we bought it for $100,000 less than what they were building it for. And it was only 3 years old.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead, Foots.
Hey, how you doing, Chief? Good evening. My question for you is, how many other states outside of Illinois and Texas are actually giving folks the state property tax exemption?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I don't know that because I only work Texas.
Okay.
But I do have an agent in almost every area that I work with. So if you had that question, like you were wanting to move to Orlando or you want to move, to Virginia, I have an agent in those areas, and you can just hit me up on the side, and then I can give you their information so you can contact them. But I want to say Florida does, because we just bought a vacation home in Florida, in Orlando. And I remember.
Hold on, Chief.
Yeah.
Chief, can you hear me? Hold on. Listen, all I want to know is, can I borrow $1? Because
I'll give you $1. I'm pretty giving. Hey, I'll give you $5.
Cash me some change. You get what I'm saying? Because all this, I'm getting beach homes and all this. What's going on?
The one in Florida is the bomb. It sleeps 18. It borders up against Disney. It's considered a luxury Airbnb. Okay. So I can send y'all the link if y'all want to rent it out.
Please do. Wait, no. Because see, so where I am, the way my life is set up on today, I want to be a buyer. You get what I mean? So instead of renting, I want to be able to sell it. Can you dig it?
Yeah.
But hey, so hold on. So we got a quick message.
Hey, so check this out. Hey, Kevlar's Grill in Bellevue is still open. You know what I'm saying? They are having lunch specials, dinner. They are there. The address is 1516 Old State Route 158 Kevlar Grill.
Hey, and listen, if y'all don't know, you need to know. You go to the KevlarsGrill.com and look at their menu, and they deliver, right? Grubhub. It's 25 miles radius. So listen, you won't get the Rona. Can you dig it? You won't get the Rona because what they gonna do is you call and they might just drop it off. Don't they do that in Domino? Listen, Domino, you call them, they go drop it off. They ring the doorbell and they run like Amazon. You hear what I'm saying? Hey, well, look, hold on, Chief. Hey, we're about to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Okay, don't hang up. We'll be right back.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. The Lion's Den podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, want to welcome y'all back. We have Miss Slater, Miss Monique Slater, retired chief. She's flipping the script, right? She's changing the game. So she served her time, but she's now continuously serving you in real estate and giving us those keys to purchasing your own home. So, ma'am, welcome back. And so we talked about things about, that individuals need to know if they're first-time home buyer, home owner, which is good. We talked about good credit and bad credit. That's
yes,
good.
But can I jump in?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Somebody had texted me a question and asked, how did I help build my son's credit?
Oh,
can
yeah,
I
there you
answer
go.
That?
Go for it.
Please do, because we got a lot of these little nappy-headed kids around here, you know. Oh, well, look,
I ain't got no hair, but that's me included.
Yeah, that's. but no, I mean, so and I just want to touch on that. Kids want things, and I get that, but they don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can work to make money, but you have to do things to have your money work for you, right?
Yes.
So if you could, please speak on that.
The one thing I did is when each one of my boys turned 18 and they didn't know, you don't want to tell your kids you're doing this, but I put them on my credit card as an authorized, and they actually have to sign the paper from the bank, and they give them a credit card. But of course, that credit card stayed in my drawer. But every time I paid something, my credit card off, use it, pay it, because that's how you build credit. You have to use it. You just can't have a credit card with a zero balance.
How old
You
were
have
they?
to use it
18.
and then make installment payments and then pay it off. It helped build their credit.
That is beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you heard that or not, but basically she found a way, or she's telling us a way to help build our kids' credit. And if you could, ma'am, if you can speak on this, and I've heard this here recently, but basically putting your children on payroll to do their chores. Okay, so it's actually showing that they have some type of employment, right? Can you speak on that?
No, I can't speak on the income because I didn't pay my kids chores to do stuff for living here for free.
Child labor laws.
I have heard of that. Though.
Child labor laws, but yeah, you have heard of what you hear.
Yeah, I heard that if you have a business or anything like that, is putting your kid on there, similar to what Monique just talked about, as far as getting a credit card and putting it in the drawer. You put them on your LLC or whatever.
Right. So there's a little girl at my church. She makes cupcakes.
Okay.
And her dad did that for her. Like, he set up the LLC, I believe, and put her on there because, when you're at church and you make good cupcakes, we're going to support you.
Yes.
So this girl was making cupcakes for the teachers at school. I mean, everybody were ordering these cupcakes and they were good. And that helped her establish that she had income. But she was a young girl. She was I think she was just like 12, 13, something like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So we do have a couple of questions.
Oh, go ahead.
So check this out. Monique, I got a question from Giovanni Joseph. He said, I recently found out that you can use your VA loan more than once. Initially, when I bought my first home, the loan officer said that it was one and done. Do you got any more information on that?
Absolutely not. That's just so not true. You can use your VA loan as many times as you want.
Boom.
Y'all
heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, man. Speak on that.
And that's what I said. Like right now, I have 3 houses on VA, but there's only me and my husband that, we only have 2 VAs. So somehow we use the third one. But you could use it as many times as you want. It's just that the funding fee that you pay is increased every time you use it. So the first time that you use your VA loan, the funding fee used to be 2.3%, but in January it went up to 2.6%. But every time you use it after that, then it goes up a whole point. Unless you're 100% disabled, then you don't pay any VA funding fee.
Yes, and you know what? On the way out, I'm gonna make sure I hit my knee real quick. Anything can help. Anything can help.
Upside the head,
Bro,
we in a rough area right here.
Anything can help. You know what I'm saying? Anything can help. But yo, that's good.
I got another one. I got another one from my man John Kaysen. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
my dog.
Shout out Kaysen.
I'm darker than him, by the way.
Man,
Oh Lord.
Hey, with the current situation going on and a percent rate drop, should my current lender let me know that the rate has dropped? This is for a new build.
So, has that person closed on the loan yet, or I need to understand the question.
I'm not. I don't want to assume. It just said
because you said new construction, it makes me feel like they haven't closed on the loan yet.
Right.
Yeah, this is for a new build, is what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for new builders, your loan, if you haven't closed on your loan yet, yes, they should absolutely let you know that the rates have dropped. Although I'll let you know that the rates have went back up. But yes, they should let you know that the rates dropped until you lock your loan in. You have to lock in a rate. Mm-hmm. And so once you lock in that rate, if I was trying to refinance this current house that we're in, and the rates had dropped to 2.875. And me, you know, I'm pretty smart, but for some reason, I don't know why I sat on that. I sat on it, and then after that, they shot back up. But if somebody had locked in at that rate at that time, then that's their rate until they're closed.
Gotcha.
But if they locked in right now and their rate is 3.75, you lock it in, and then it drops. I'm sorry, you locked in already.
So who responsibility is it? Is it the realtors, or is it the builders or the realtors, or is it the home buyer? Who responsibility is that to monitor?
So it's really the home buyer, but if I'm your agent, I'm going to check the rates every day for you.
That's good.
And then I'm going to tell you, hey, baby, this is a good rate. Don't chance the market like that. Lock in this rate. I'm going to tell you that. And I'm going to check every day, and I'm going to text you. The market's open like at 10 in the morning. So around 10:30, I'm going to text you what the rate is. This is the rate today. Let me know if you want to lock in. But for me, if it's too good to be true, I'll be like, 2.875, girl, you better lock that rate in. Lock it in. So it's really up to the home buyer. But a lot of times the agents don't want to get involved in that area because that's really between you and the lender.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's shift gears here. We're talking about buying. Let's get into the seller's perspective, right?
Okay.
So I've sold both my homes, and I ran into this little incident on the second time where it comes to this whole appliance piece that's in the contract, right? So
yes.
I learned the hard way what appliance means. You would think when you buy a new home, it's whatever the appliance that were in the house. That's not true. So the sellers or the buyers that were buying my second home before I PCS here to Scott, they wanted my washer and dryer, you know, and thought that was a little odd. They had a washer and dryer. They sold it to get mine, so I don't understand that. But anyway, I was in transition to head to Scott, and I got a call from my realtor, and she was like, hey, the buyers are freaking out. You took the washer and dryer. And I'm like, yeah, this is my washer and dryer. Come to find out, they wanted it. It was in the contract, so I had to cut a $500 check.
So your agent should have told you it was in the contract. When you sign the contract, they should be going over every part of the contract with you. So you're not surprised, especially as a seller, because a lot of times the seller don't know. Here in Texas, you're going to pay for things that you don't know that you're paying for because in the contract, like the title policy. Mm-hmm. It's normal in San Antonio for the sellers to pay the title policy. But if your realtor don't go over that with you, you don't know until you get to closing, and then your check is less than what you think it is because you'd be like, wait a minute, well, how did I know I was going to pay for a home warranty? Well, because that's what sellers do, but your agent should have told you that.
So, Larry, it sounds like you got played, didn't it?
No, I won't say that because I was in transition. I was going to tech school for manpower, hey. But as I was in tech school, she discussed this with my wife early on in the process. Mm-hmm. But
don't be trying down.
She said all appliances.
Try to put it off on the wife.
But the issue was it wasn't reiterated when we got to the final, signing and all this. I felt like it should have been reiterated. Like, hey, just a reminder, because you wasn't here, wherever the case may be, all appliances include X, Y, and Z, and that I could have opted out and said, no, we're going to keep the washer and dryer. I didn't know any of this. So, like I said,
lesson learned.
In transition, I learned this, and I was kind of ticked off about it.
That might be in your state, but I'm going to tell you here, and like Florida. I said, I only sell here in Texas, and then I have a lot of agents I network with that I can help you guys if you move to a different state. But here in Texas, if you turn your house upside down, whatever falls to the bottom, that goes with you. Everything else that doesn't fall, like that stove, that dishwasher, the sink, the garbage, that stays with the house.
Yeah. So I just want to clarify that for everybody else that's out there to know that you got to be in tune with what's considered an appliance.
Yes. Well, a washer and dryer is an appliance, but they had to add that in.
They did, and I didn't know. So I'm still salty.
So my question for you is, what type of insurance should you have for your home? Because I've heard different stories to where you want to get insurance externally on your home. And I've also heard that you want to get it external to your home when it comes to the pipeline, the plumbing, and things of that nature, so you wouldn't incur any type of cost.
And do it depend on where you're at, like flood zones, right? So go ahead. You can speak on that, ma'am.
So, yes, it depends on where you at. And if you're ever questioning if you're in a flood zone or not, you can pull up the FEMA flood map. And it will tell you if your house is in a flood zone or not. But you want to get the insurance. Most of the time, the lender is going to tell you what kind of insurance that you're required to get because they want your property insured because you still owe them money.
That's a good point.
So they're going to tell you, no, you need to have this kind of insurance and you need this and you need this. Now, on one of my rental properties, I have a pool in the backyard. So I have extra insurance. Personal property insurance, because if something happened with that pool and they got little kids that live in the house, I want to be covered.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have a question, switching gears just a little bit about real estate investing, right?
Yes.
So we hear a lot about wholesale investing, and also about using the loans that you can get. Like I've heard about how you can do VA loans to get property for real estate investing. What is your opinion on all of that stuff? What is the best way for a beginner to get into the game of real estate investing, in your opinion?
So I'm going to tell you that whoever's telling you that you could use a VA loan for investment property is not giving you accurate information. You should walk away.
Wow.
Okay.
Show no.
Because for VA, it has to be your primary
That's
residence.
right, because you have to stay in
Like
there
2
at least
years,
like
right?
a year or two.
2 years, but it's your primary resident. And so even though it's my primary resident in Virginia, it wasn't my fault that I had to move.
Oh,
See what I'm saying?
Right.
So
you
then
had
I
to
kept that
cause.
property as rental property and then bought another property with VA.
The loophole.
So we kind of got to up on, having a PCS and then using your VA again, because it's not our fault. We have to go. We have to transition.
So what's the best? So what's the best move for that? If you're thinking about getting real estate property for investment purposes, what is the best vehicle to use for loan purposes?
So there's quite a few ways. The easiest way: buy you a house yourself and then live in it and then rent it out. Okay. Or you can save up the money. You can get like a conventional loan, save up the down payment, and then buy the investment property. Or what you're talking about for wholesaling is, and I've had a couple of these transactions, is here in Texas, you can buy the lien on a property and keep the mortgage intact. I know it sounds strange. It sounds strange, but that's a Texas thing. So if I have somebody that's having a hard time making their payments, and unfortunately, right now we have a lot of people that are laid off because of this coronavirus, and they're not going to be able to make their payments. And once you're, 1 or 2, 3 months late, you can never catch up. Really, you can't. And they just need to get out of it. They'll come to me and be like, Monique, I can't get out of this house. I'll be like, I'll buy your lien.
Right.
So I'll buy the lien,
cash.
but I'm going to keep the title, the mortgage intact, which means that title is still in their name. It's very dangerous to do, but
dangerous on
most
whose
of the
part?
time, if you're going to buy somebody's lien, you're going to give them some money because, they need money to move. You're going to give them $5,000, $10,000, whatever they're requiring, so they can move, set up a new household, blah, blah, blah. now I have some skin in the game. I got $10,000 that I put into this house. I'm not about to be late. So I'm going to turn it into some rental property and make the mortgage payments, which the mortgage payment is in the other person's name. It's very dangerous though, because what if I was that type that I decide I'm going to stop making the mortgage payment?
That's right.
So Monique, dangerous on whose part? Like who's taking the risk?
It's on the seller's part. The seller that sold me his lien.
Okay.
Because he's trusting for me to pay his mortgage every month.
Right. So from my understanding, what wholesale real estate is, like you just said, that I'm buying it fast cash, and I'm going to go find an investor to go to.
Now you could do that. And then you assign it to someone and stuff like that. I have a girl on my team named Linka. She does that for me. That type of wholesaling, I don't mess with it because I have a license.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a real estate license, we have to abide by certain rules and regulations and guidelines, and we don't get into that type of investing that you're talking about.
Do you have any information on that, though?
That's called assignments.
Right.
And so there's a girl on my team that she purposely won't get a license because she likes to wholesale that way.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So they restrictions.
Yeah. So
Yes,
so what is the? I always wanted to know, like, what is the purpose of using that person? Because to me, that seems like that they're just the middle person.
They are.
You know, they don't really own anything. You know what I mean? They are getting this property.
Well, they got a very strong network that you don't have.
Okay.
They have buyers and they have sellers.
So that's
their network is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
Insightful, man. That's a lot of stuff that I didn't know about.
Really, and I mean.
But that's kind of getting off of the home ownership for first-time home buyers that we're supposed to be talking about, because that's real advanced type
It
stuff.
is. Okay, so let's bring it back. So we got Foots, right? So Foots, you're interested in purchasing a home, right?
Yes, sir.
All right,
absolutely.
so go ahead, man. What you got?
So my question for you is, what are some of the things that you really, really want to have in your closing costs that you can't go without?
In your closing costs?
Yes, ma'am. When you're closing on a home.
Are you
Some of
talking
the-
about things?
some
You
of the
talking about as
requirements.
far as attributes and features in the house?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I think
yes,
so.
ma'am.
I
That's
think
where I'm.
so,
That's where I'm
yeah.
going with
I
it.
think
Yes,
what
ma'am.
he's talking
so
about. So like, go ahead.
Are you a first-time home buyer or no?
Soon to be.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, first-time home buyers, sometimes you have to reel them back. You have to reel them way back because they're first-time home buyers and they really want a $400,000 home, but their budget is $200,000. And so I have to reel them back into realization that says, baby, this is what you can afford. But you know that no home you ever find is going to be 100% perfect. And then people that know that they're going to transition shouldn't be looking for perfection. What you're going to be looking for is location for resale or rental, the condition of the house, and the price.
School
Number one
districts.
thing is location. Location.
I've been hearing that for years. So my grandma,
appreciate it.
she's been doing real estate. I mean, forever, and just watching her and other individuals. That's the main key, because if you do your research, and there's individuals that know in the next 5 years what business is going to pop up around there, right? So that's going to increase on your property value and the type of individuals that's going to come in your neighborhood, right? Are you going to be in a neighborhood where it's full of home owners or renters?
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Absolutely.
You don't want to be in a home that's full of renters.
Exactly.
But
in the neighborhood.
unfortunately,
that
we
makes
don't get that. We don't get that opportunity sometimes, being military members.
That's right. We gotta get what we can get.
No. I'm saying that we buy in neighborhoods that have really great school districts.
Yep.
But there's a lot of transition in those neighborhoods because it's military.
That's true.
And half of those military are going to sell and the other half are going to rent. So it becomes a neighborhood where you have renters, but it has great school districts. So you know it's going to always sell if you want to sell, and it's going to always rent because, military, everybody don't come to buy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
So I was told when you're looking to buy a house, don't buy one that's close to an apartment complex. Is there any is that valid?
Validity. Lord have mercy.
Why you not calling me out, man? I'm trying to sound smart and shit.
I was just gonna leave that one alone.
I was
You
gonna let
got
that
it.
ride.
It's okay. You got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Lord, hey, Mom, Monique. So yeah, is there any
Is
validity
Is
to
that right? Is this all correct? Goddamn.
It I'm sorry.
All you gotta do is slow down and say, hey, you know what, man? Look, hey, so next time we have a Toastmasters meeting, you go over there. But no, go ahead. But go ahead, Monique. No, but seriously, that's a good question, though. But to his point, so should you avoid homes that's around complexes or what? What you think?
I'm trying to think of our market here, and we don't really have homes that's near apartment complex. Now we have some homes that's near like storage units and stuff that people avoid because they don't want to live behind a storage unit. I don't know where you are. Are the apartments in the same neighborhoods with the homes?
So, well, how about this? In your experience, what area should a first-time home buyer avoid?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
So I was told something about if it's a drought for like you got to drive a certain amount of distance for like groceries places or gas stations like a Walmart.
and that could be true, except here in Texas, and that could be true because for us everything is rural. So I have to drive 15 minutes to get to HEB. That's our grocery store.
Right.
I have to actually go into town, but where I live, it's very a sought after neighborhood because it's a lot of mature homeowners here.
Okay. Hey, well, listen.
You know what I mean? But I don't want to say old.
No.
We know what you mean.
Okay, so look, you can say,
Seasoned.
Seasoned. You
Seasoned.
know, the ones that,
We're seasoned.
they got old money. Let's use that.
That
But-
money.
but
No,
yeah,
that's not true.
No, it's too late. You already said it. But go ahead, bro.
Hey, my man John Kaysen, he talked about using a VA loan to purchase multi-unit property.
Can
Yes,
you do that?
you can
Or
absolutely do that.
duplex, right? But
You can do that.
Apartments?
You gotta be
like what we talking about?
Live
here?
there though.
I believe that one I have to give I have a good lender that does multi-units, but I think it has to be 4 or below units.
Okay.
And
But a lot of times people will buy like a duplex. They'll live in one side and then rent out
have
the
the
other.
other person let's get it.
I want to do that in St. Louis, but all those places, like, you might get shot.
Man, shut up, man.
go.
It was coming.
I can't believe this dude.
Somebody stereotyping.
Listen,
Go buy in Clarksville, man.
you know, make it so bad. St. Louis is one of our largest listeners right now.
Right.
It's about to go down just because you said that.
Damn.
You just
So
set
I
us
lied.
up.
You know what? You don't care either.
But I
St. Louis.
understand.
Go ahead.
I don't know if y'all know. I'm from Compton, so I understand.
Have mercy.
Yes, so
Slauson
I
in the
done lived
building.
in some areas, and I
Yeah.
understand. But there's a lot of nice areas that have duplexes.
That's true.
I can't afford them places in St. Louis, though, man. Have y'all seen those places?
You
Yeah,
can.
I've seen some, but you know,
Find your
I
investor.
I still don't know between the north side, south side, and all that because it don't. I mean, it look like Detroit, but it don't.
Yeah.
for real. Just so hold on, wait before you even say something about Detroit. Don't do it.
I'm
Don't do
not
it.
looking
Okay,
at
okay,
it.
no, he was about to.
I'm gonna mind my business.
No, man.
But
no.
why are you looking at in St. Louis? Why aren't you looking in like O'Fallon or areas around there around the Bay?
I've looked in these areas and I really didn't see anything that was really appealing. I mean, I lived in North County for a little bit in St. Louis. And so I know that little area a little bit better than down here.
But you know what though, Monique, for real, over here in Illinois, the taxes
Yeah,
are
taxes are horrible
astronomically
here.
different and high compared to over there in St. Louis or Missouri. You know, but there are still some good real estate, not real estate, but duplex. So if not O'Fallon, then you got Mascoutah, you got Swansea, you got everything in this area. But
I consider all that Belleville for some reason.
no,
So while you're talking about taxes, when people are looking to buy, that's something that they really should look at because people forget about taxes when they're
Yes.
buying.
Yes.
They should look at they should look at the taxes. They should look at, like you said, insurance. They should look at the school districts. They should look at if it's in an HOA because now you got to pay HOA fees. there's a lot of different things you should look at when you're looking to buy. So if taxes are high in that area, yeah, that could be a concern. But they can't be higher in Texas. We got some high taxes here in Texas.
But they military friendly though.
Exactly. All you gotta do is have like 20%, and you ain't got paid taxes.
Ain't this area military friendly?
Man, no,
too?
Retirement friendly.
No.
Listen, Florida spoiled me. I'm gonna just put that out there. Florida spoiled me when it come to home buy.
Yeah, 70%.
But here, I won't do it.
So what you got?
So my last question for you is for those first-term home buyers. What are some things that you would recommend that they look out for? Specifically, I ain't gonna say specifically in general, but for like young airmen that's looking to buy their first home, do you encourage they do that because of the possibility of PCS and things like that?
Or me,
Well,
I'm a young senior master sergeant that haven't bought a house yet. You know what I mean? And I'm actively looking to buy a home too, and I have no idea where to begin.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, I need to connect y'all with some good agents up there.
Sounds like
I do, and I have a couple good agents up in that area. But you have to. It depends on your mindset. So if your mindset is that you're going to buy a home and you know you want to sell it in 4 years when you PCS, then buy in an area that has high resale.
There you go.
Because you want to sell. But if your mindset is, okay, I'm looking at long-term investments and I possibly want to rent it out where it's a good transition neighborhood for military. Because I love my civilians, I do, but I don't always know how to get my money from them.
That's right. Yeah,
but
because we know how to get to everybody first. Sorry.
We know, yeah. And so my thing is, even when the last time I went to Virginia and I met with my tenants, they knew already from the start, this is a personal transaction between me and you. This has nothing to do with military, but y'all best to know that I showed up in uniform. Absolutely. Because, those stripes will say something, even though I'll be like, no, this don't have nothing to do with the military. This is me and you.
Yeah.
And if you late or you're going to be late, you let me know. But in the end, I know how to go to Commanders and get my money.
That's right. Hey, well, listen, Miss Monique, where can individuals find you if they have any more questions or want your services? How can they find you?
Well, I'm going to send you my my link to my website, or they can give me a call. My number is 210-237-7268. But I'm also sending you my link to my Florida property because they might want to rent it out for a few days.
Okay.
The Airbnb?
Yeah, the Airbnb. Yeah, because listen,
it's a luxury Airbnb.
And listen,
it's a resort. Okay,
and so once this Rona is over with,
What part of Florida?
hey, we about to go. What part of Florida is that?
It's in Orlando. It bumps
can do
up
that.
against the Disney proper.
No, I'm trying to go Dade County.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, no, I'm joking. Hey, so listen, well, look, man, we want to thank you, though. We want to thank you for coming on the
Appreciate
show.
your
You
time.
know what I mean? You did.
Yes, thank you for
Hey.
having me.
Hey, listen, you could have been anywhere, but you happen to be here with us, right? And so, everybody, I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. And don't forget to check out the Kevlar's Grill, kevlarsgrill.com. Check out the menu. It changes all the time. And it's great, great food. But I do want to leave you with this. If we don't do what we do, who will?
Yep.
You understand?
Indeed.
And this is exactly what we do at the Lion's Den. So we will see you again next week.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. The Lion's Den podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.